you're guilty of massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation.
A lot of them are guilty of it. Yeah, a lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russiagate thing?
A ton of people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah, still.
I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was like completely concocted.
Funded by the Clinton campaign.
Polished speeches, perfect timing, and a meticulously built image all crumble when Joe Rogan cuts straight through the shine. With sharp precision and biting humor, he shreds the illusion of cool, laying bare the scripted politics, the staged vanishings, and the celebrity-style branding that once held millions captive. Each rehearsed pause, each carefully posed moment, Rogan tears down as nothing more than stagecraft masquerading as leadership. This isn't praise. It's a relentless unmasking of a skilled marketer dressed in a presidential suit.
It's a volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto.
Barack Obama has shaped an entire second career around turning every appearance into a cinematic performance. Joe Rogan cuts straight through that perfectly staged image, noting how Obama speaks like a philosopher, but moves like a salesman for his own brand. He doesn't just talk, he choreographs. The pauses, the softened voice, the subtle tilt of the chin. It feels less like a statesman and more like a drama student who accidentally wandered into the Oval Office. Rogan strips away the act and calls it what it truly is, performance art in a suit.
Doesn't give a
Here in the United States, countless publications provoke offense. Like me, the majority of Americans are Christian, and yet we do not ban blasphemy against our most sacred beliefs.
He doesn't give a They're just going for it.
As president of our country and commander-in-chief of our military, I accept that people are going to call me awful things every day, and I will always defend their right to do so.
Flat out lie.
Efforts to restrict speech can quickly become a tool to silence critics and oppress minorities. We do so because, given the power of faith in our lives, the strongest weapon against hateful speech.
The former president has perfected the craft of appearing to be everything to everyone while standing firmly for almost nothing at all. One day he's the cool, down-to-earth dad figure, the next he's the untouchable statesman. And at times he manages to be both in the very same line. It's a balancing act that has kept his supporters entranced for more than a decade. Rogan rips into that double image, mocking how Obama can speak endlessly about change and progress, yet still make it all sound like a college brochure, carefully rewritten to avoid upsetting anyone.
The accusation, they're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
The cult of personality surrounding Obama is where Rogan strikes hardest. Supporters treat him as if he embodies hope itself, as though he could walk into a room and fix the economy with nothing more than a loosened tie. The truth, however, is far less dazzling. Behind the polished delivery and flawless smile is a politician who played the same game as everyone else, just with better lighting and a better soundtrack. Rogan drives home the point that charisma isn't policy, and charm doesn't solve problems. Yet Obama's greatest illusion has been making people believe it does.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something, and then you get into office, and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump.
The childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
When he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling the watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten numb to all this.
Rogan takes aim at the post-presidency glow-up. While most former presidents fade into memoirs and golf games, Obama has turned his later years into a high-end lifestyle brand. It's Netflix deals, Spotify playlists, and speaking tours with ticket prices steep enough to fund a small nation's healthcare. Rogan rips apart the notion that any of this is about public service. This is a man cashing in on the myth he built in office, doing it with the polish of a Silicon Valley CEO rolling out a new app.
Absolutely must hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
But yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
Then there's the non-stop nostalgia machine. Obama's supporters cling to his speeches like comfort food, overlooking the fact that much of his presidency was a masterclass in strategic inaction. Rogan doesn't let that pass. He reminds people that while Obama was selling hope, he was also perfecting the art of sitting on the political fence. Inspiring people is one thing, but inspiring them into a coma of passivity is another. Rogan shows no mercy for Obama's obsession with being the cool president. From pickup basketball to celebrity hangouts, every move was carefully staged to project effortless charm. The podcast host tears into his gift for staying the center of attention without ever saying anything truly divisive. Obama could address war, economic collapse, or a national crisis and still make it sound like a graduation speech. It's a skill, yes, but also an evasion.
You look at the policies and the attacks on whistleblowers and drone strikes and all the other shit that happened during that administration and the coup in Russia, and like there's a lot that's, from a foreign policy perspective, that's very similar to what George Bush was doing. But what they were doing was highlighting social justice issues that came about during his administration, largely obscured the fact that the foreign policies were very similar to what George Bush was doing.
Rogan likens Obama to a comic who talks for 20 minutes, earns applause, but never delivers a punchline. The audience leaves smiling, only to realize later that nothing was actually said. He mocks the polished image of Obama as a unifier, noting the nation stayed divided while marketing made him look like it's glue. It's like crediting a mall Santa for keeping Christmas alive while ignoring the retail chaos behind him. The illusion worked because Obama's delivery felt like a warm blanket on a cold night. Rogan points out he warned of corruption while thriving in the same swamp, calling it political yoga, flexible morals and positions, always ending with a bow to the camera.
There is what Obama said on the same video. There is what Trump actually said. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. And he's talking about George Washington. He said George Washington had slaves. Let's play it.
On both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down a very, very important statue from Robert E. Lee to another name. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Excuse me, how about Thomas Jefferson? Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Rogan takes aim at the Netflix empire, mocking the idea that these productions are meant to educate or inspire. To him, they're glossy PR pieces designed to keep the Obama brand alive. Perfectly timed reminders of the so-called good old days. It's like a musician who hasn't made a hit in years but keeps pushing greatest hits albums to fans who won't admit the music's over. Rogan argues that when a politician controls their own storytelling platform, it isn't history, it's propaganda with a better soundtrack. He lands his sharpest blows on Obama's obsession with legacy. Every interview, documentary, and appearance is another brushstroke on a self-portrait meant for the Hall of Great Leaders. But the truth is far less flattering, and Rogan smears the paint. The timing of it all is too perfect to be coincidence. It's media savvy you'd expect from a Kardashian, not a former president. Yet it works, because Obama knows his audience and plays them like a finely tuned instrument.
Is that the 2011 thing where Obama allowed people to use propaganda against United States citizens?
Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant.
What was done then under Obama, effective repeal of it, was called the Smith Modernization Act.
She was a great Secretary of State for me.
At the time, the media and media control was seen as the linchpin crux of winning the Cold War, piping in pro-U.S. media influence.
Policy of my administration is to encourage transparency. Why my emails, the BlackBerry that I carry around, all those records are available.
Congress recognized the Frankensteinian monster they were creating by authorizing a covert, permanent Department of Dirty Tricks, and this is their phrase, not mine.
Hillary has instructed those emails that had to do with official business need to be disclosed.
To infiltrate and co-opt the universities, the unions, the media, the politicians, the judges, the whole swarm.
The selective activism doesn't escape Rogan's eye. He calls out how Obama picks causes the way influencers choose brand deals: safe, image-friendly, and risk-free. There's nothing courageous about backing issues that are already popular. True leadership means taking stands when it's uncomfortable, a path Obama rarely takes. Rogan portrays him as a politician who loves the look of risk without ever facing the danger. The celebrity circles come under fire too. Obama surrounds himself with Hollywood elites, projecting cultural connection while living in a bubble more insulated than royalty. Rogan slams the absurdity of a man claiming to speak for everyday Americans while spending weekends on private islands with billionaires. Relatability is a tough sell when your life looks like a Vanity Fair spread.
Never seen it?
No.
It's amazing. He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him.
Rogan's roast goes beyond Obama's politics. It's about the brand he's built. The sharp suits, the balanced tone, the curated playlists, all crafted to sell a feeling rather than reality. That feeling is nostalgia for an America that mostly lived in speeches and slogans. It's clever marketing, but Rogan reminds us nostalgia doesn't pay bills or fix the problems left behind. By the end, Obama isn't the flawless orator or the symbol of hope. He's a skilled performer who turned politics into a personal franchise. And the roast doesn't end there, because every calculated move Obama makes only adds more fuel to the fire Rogan has already lit. The performance continues, and so does the takedown.
I've had candid conversations with Tulsi Gabbard about what it was like.
It's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal.
She's a person, tries to be friends with everybody, tries to reach across the aisle. She's got that whole aloha.
Rogan digs deeper into the theater of Obama's post-presidency, mocking the absurdity of a man who once ruled the world stage, now working as a streaming content creator. Each project feels less like cultural contribution and more like brand expansion. The topics stay safe, the tone polished, the narratives flattering. It's storytelling where the hero conveniently resembles the executive producer. The whole act plays like a greatest hits tour, with fans showing up not for something new, but to relive the nostalgia. Rogan tears apart the illusion that this is civic engagement, when it's really about keeping the Obama brand in the premium tier.
Isn't it crazy, like when Obama was president, worst they could get on him is, remember when he wore that tan suit?
Why did you take issue with the suit?
Because you know the image makers in the White House. Here's a president coming out at such a serious moment where he should be addressing the country on such a serious matter, and he looked like he was on his way to a party at the Hamptons.
He never had a single moment publicly where he stumbled, where he said something really stupid. This is insane.
Then comes the merchandising of ideals. Every book, podcast, and production carries the same market-tested tone of moral authority. Rogan highlights how Obama has turned leadership itself into a product line, with supporters treating their buy-in as an act of patriotism. The irony is that the audience feels empowered while he walks away with a bigger check and a polished legacy. Rogan also takes aim at Obama's strategic invisibility whenever politics get messy. And when he does resurface, it's with a perfectly staged presence that grabs headlines without courting risk. Rogan calls it the political version of a pop star dropping a surprise single just as public interest fades. The content doesn't need to break new ground, it just needs to remind people he's still there. It's a cycle of performance art with no end, and Rogan makes it clear the show is still going strong.